ProjectionLab promises to deliver a level of financial clarity and long-term forecasting that'll help you become financially free. But during my deep dive testing over the past 2 months, I uncovered a few insights that can completely transform your financial plan and some specific limitations that you must know before you sign up. I've tested dozens of financial tools, and this one left me both genuinely impressed and cautiously aware of its hurdles. Let's unpack it all. Well, right after diving into ProjectionLab, one thing became clear to me really fast, and that's this tool is not for people who just want to check their bank balance or see a basic budget. If that's all you want, a tool like Pocketsmith is more than enough. But if you want a finance management tool that lets you actually model your long-term life decisions, like when to retire, what happens if you switch careers, how buying a home affects your future, or even how a child affects your whole timeline, ProjectionLab is the way to go. They've built their entire service around detailed scenario based modeling. You can project your own income, your expenses, your investments, and even the tax effects of your decisions across decades. But don't just take my word for it. When you look at some user feedback, the story becomes even clearer. Take this one user on Reddit, for example. He said the real advantage of ProjectionLab is how you can dig into the information, adjust the inputs, and revisit the tables whenever you want and go deep down into the data. He liked how you could look under the hood of the results. So, if your priority is exploring different paths to retirement and wealth goals rather than just tracking where your money already went last month, then the specialized deep modeling capabilities of ProjectionLab make it a much better pick for that specific job. Then there's this other user who said that he bought a yearly subscription and was really happy. Like, he mentioned that the more he used it, the more powerful and flexible he discovered it was. And he kept finding that features he thought would be cool were already there and he didn't have to suggest them. He had already been using Personal Capital and his own spreadsheets, but ProjectionLab replaced that entire complex system for him. So this actually aligns with my own experience. So every time that I thought, like, does it handle this? Does it handle this capability? Can it actually do this for me? It usually actually did. And I think that tells you everything. ProjectionLab is built for the user who sees their financial plan not as like this static document, but as a living, breathing simulation. Okay, now that you know who this finance tool is for, let's get into the specific features that make it so powerful. And the first thing that hooked me was the account setup. It's incredibly thoughtful and well set up. So right after you register, you choose between a normal walkthrough for your real financial situation or a sandbox mode with pre-filled examples. I highly recommend just starting with the sandbox to just play around. You plan as an individual or as a couple, and then you enter your basics, and then you input your current finances, so your cash, your investments, debts, homes, everything. And that sets a really solid foundation. But you know what? A plan is useless if it can't handle real world complexity. And that is where the Monte Carlo simulations come in. So this is a game changer. Simple calculators use fixed returns, but the real world doesn't look like that. So ProjectionLab lets you basically battle test your plan against thousands of different market scenarios to see the true probability of success. So I used this to test how soon I could reach financial independence with my income and with the money I already had. And it showed me exactly where my plan was strong, where it was weak, where it was too optimistic, and where I could change it, right? So I think this depth is really where ProjectionLab stands out compared to like a competitor such as Pocketsmith. Pocketsmith is fantastic for detailed cash flow forecasting and budgeting, but ProjectionLab's core strength is this deep, long-term what if scenario modeling for retirement and wealth goals across a wide variety of areas and tools. And you can pair that simulation power with incredible tax visualization. At the end of each simulated year, it calculates your total tax liability based on everything that happened. So you just get a clear breakdown on the special tax analytics page that tells you everything you need to know. And this leads to one of the biggest benefits I found. One user on a forum highlighted this perfectly. He said that ProjectionLab can definitely save you more than $120 in taxes alone if you use it to figure out the optimal rate for the Roth conversions. So he noted that for the Roth conversions, it kind of paid for itself in just potential tax savings if you knew how to use it. And that is a huge real world value situation. Now, one of the biggest reasons people choose ProjectionLab is how it handles retirement planning, how it handles all these retirement accounts, right? But is your retirement account safe with ProjectionLab? And the simple answer is yes. ProjectionLab fully integrates the safe withdrawal rate concept, which lets you tailor your retirement withdrawals to your specific situation. They also have security, like you can experiment to find your sustainable rate that ensures that you don't run out of money. And for the real visual learners, the drawdown order visualization is a super killer feature. This provides a clear graphical representation of how your withdrawals will impact your different accounts over time. So you can see your savings depleting in a way that just makes sense, making it really simple to fine-tune your strategy. For the more tech-savvy users, there's the recently launched plugins. So this opens a whole new level of flexibility. Now you can sync account balances from YNAB, you can import data from Monarch Money, or even develop your own custom automations. It connects ProjectionLab to a lot of the other tools in your financial life. I found this ProjectionLab retirement software review from this user who reinforced how the community loves this constant evolution and adding of new features. He said that the creator, Kyle, is fantastic and is always expanding the capabilities based on user input, and he believes that ProjectionLab is well worth paying for. I think that is a huge plus for the long-term value of the tool. I also came across this detailed Reddit thread where someone asked if anyone had actually tried ProjectionLab, and there were a few people who had. One user replied saying that he loved it so much that he upgraded from an annual to a lifetime subscription. He admitted that it doesn't have automatic account sync, which some apps like Monarch Money excel at, but he said it completely blows away other tools in the planning department. He found it easier to use than a competitor like New Recruitment, and endlessly more configurable for fire planning. Another user in that same thread said that he was totally hooked on it and that he bought an annual license. He highlighted the couple feature for including a spouse's finances and loved the modeling options and Monte Carlo simulations to predict his likelihood of success. He said it might be overkill for some, but it's perfect for those who like to geek out on this stuff and, of course, for those who like to get into those details for their own investment priorities. But you know what? Of course, no software is perfect. There are a few things that you should be aware of before you commit. The main one I found, and something a lot of users, well, not a lot, but some users have talked about, is the free trial limitation. So ProjectionLab gives you full access to every feature to try it out, which is great. The only catch is that it won't save your work when you stop your trial session. If you were to start over, you'd have to completely start over from scratch when you log back in without using the paid plan. Now, in my experience, this is actually a really smart way to do a trial. It gives you plenty of hands-on time to see if any of the tools work for you without restricting any features, right? It forces you to really dive in during a single sitting and get to know the tools and get to know the environment and get to know everything about it. And then you don't need to save any of your work because all you're doing is learning about this software. So is this kind of thing a deal breaker? For me, no. It's a minor hurdle for some, but it's not even related to the core planning experience. It's just related to the free trial version. The power and insight that you get from the modeling are what serious planners care about, and that's where ProjectionLab consistently delivers. And when it comes to cost, ProjectionLab's pricing is structured to fit different needs. Like, they have a free trial that gives you full access to test the platform, which is great for getting a real feel for its power, and then they have other tiers that are for different number of tools or for different deals. Now, for the most current ProjectionLab pricing and any active promo deals they have going on, make sure to check the link in the description of this video. We do try to keep it updated so that you can get the best possible deal. So, what is my final verdict in this ProjectionLab review? Well, if you're serious about your long-term financial future, especially if you're aiming for financial independence or early retirement, and you're frustrated with the limitations of simple calculators for learning about the future and what things might look like, then I think ProjectionLab software is absolutely worth a long, hard look. Make sure to check that link in the description of this video to get started with your own testing.